Google chat box are the questions that really matter. And if you want to get paid, there's two ways to get paid in this business. One is to be a lead generating machine, basically be a professional marketer. And the other one is to be a consultant. There's two divided paths: be a marketer or be a consultant. And let me challenge any of you in this. If you were going to hire a realtor, do you want to hire Mark Spain, the guy on the billboard that sells 7,000 houses a year and says, hey, I sell more houses than anybody? Or do you want to hire the expert in your neighborhood that comes to your living room table and says, Michael Anthony, I've sold 78 houses in this neighborhood in the last 4 years, and I know every detail about Hiawatha Farms. Who do you want to hire?
Yep.
Oh, I want to hire fucking Mark Spain, the guy with a big fucking head on the side of the highway with 78 shitbag agents in Atlanta that don't know dick about anything. Now, guess what? Mark Spain does a ton of business and makes a ton of money. He's the Costco realtor.
Yep.
Now, if you're on this call and you actually want to be a consultant, that's the only thing that Michael and I teach, is how to be a consultant, how to actually know the guidelines, how to be a loan officer that can handle the three parts of the sale. The three parts being how to get a loan. That's the first third. Like, hey, Michael, hey, everyone on this call, do you know your guidelines? The middle part, hey, can I meet with you and give you some advice on your finances? That's essentially Smart Start, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the third part, when you're there in the midst of this thing, can I show you how to like go under contract and get, I'm a purchase loan officer. So the art of the deal, the moment that deal starts to smell like it's going to be a deal, I'm there for you. I'm not a 9-to-5er. I'm not a headset jockey at Rocket Mortgage. Boop, boop, boop. It's 5:01. I've checked out. Right?
Yeah.
So those three questions: what's the easiest way to build trust? If you are building a referral-based business, what does that really mean? And when your name appears to be the person to get the call, get a mortgage from Parker, what do you want that person to know from you when they're calling you and within the first 5 to 10 minutes of interacting with you? Like, that's the business.
Mm-hmm.
That's the business. It's never going to change.
Yep.
The guy that just left, Treg, like Greg with a T, door knocked every one of his deals. He door knocked every one of his deals. And then he just studied the market. He had a handwritten journal, and it's literally like a finance journal. It's gray, and he fills it out every morning.
Wow.
$500 million worth of real estate. He was wearing jeans and a Lululemon shirt.
Wow, he splurged on the shirt.
Yeah. And he says he likes his Ford Ranger, which makes him look nearly homeless more than his Mercedes.
Yeah. It's the millionaire next door.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Those three questions, if you get nothing from today's call, those three questions are the questions that never go away. So when someone says, hey, trust me online, I've got this lead generating gorilla that I can help you crush it and become famous tomorrow, and your phone will ring off the hook, that doesn't mean that you won't get, hey, what's your rate? Hey, I saw you online. Hey, help me, run around a track. Here, do a dance for me, Michael. Make me laugh. Remember what was the movie in Wedding Crashers when the kid's like, make me laugh, clown. Make me laugh.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have a lead, a doctor from the realtor that I met with yesterday, who, quote, emailed me. Oh, by the way, he emailed me on Tuesday night. I guess he's under contract. And yesterday I hadn't reached out because I didn't even see it. He sent it to my Gmail. And he and I are supposed to have a call at 9:00 in 22 minutes. He's under contract for $895 on a downtown condo to do a non-owner occupied deal, Airbnb. So if you think that I'm innocent or impervious to these type of rate calls and those three questions, And by the way, I met this guy 3 years ago when he moved here from California. He runs a chiropractic clinic there, and he was a super conservative guy that wanted to get out of California and come to Nashville. So he's super aggressive, and I remember him. So now I'm supposed to get on the phone with him at 9, reconnect, and then say, how can I help? He's under contract for February 15th. $895 purchase. He wants to put 30% down. I already found out all the details from the realtor. Let me ask you guys, is this your ideal lead? You put it in the chat box if it is or it isn't. Because if it is, it's a deal that you know you can get paid on, right? And I'm certainly like, okay, I want this deal. But then I'm looking up going, all right, wait a minute. Like, now this guy's going to be, hey, dance for me, clown. What can you do for me? Now, he's a chiropractor. He's owns his own business. He still has his clinic in California. In a show of hands, how much work do you think this loan's going to be to do? Easy? Hard? Oh, it's a non-warrantable condo in a building called The Hive, Hyve. It's non-warrantable. Like, to me, this is, I'm in a cauldron of like being rate shopped, and like there's no value here. I can't create any value. Like,
but I think your value is being able to get the deal done. And I think if you press on the pain points, right, hard enough, then maybe it does work, right? Maybe he will work with you. And Brendan, just sort of time out. Like, I'm curious,
sure.
The realtor that that referred it, like, I'm wondering what happened in the very beginning. Did she say, oh, hey, please call Brendan, and this was 3 months ago and he just never did? Or did she drop the ball on not referring him? Or what happened on the front end that you didn't talk to him 60, 90 days ago?
Let me say this, Michael. She's a beast.
Yeah.
The relationship, we're friends.
Yeah.
In the beginning, great question. And everyone take notes. She's a huge realtor now. She has a big team. We're still friends. I've done her personal mortgages. When it started, I think in my first year, I did like 10 or 11 deals, and it was in flow. Then she grew. Now she's a beast. She makes over $1 million a year. She does development deals. She's got 15 different agents. Hey, I'm in neutral. I really enjoy, like, when we go out, she pays. I referred her some deals last year, made her team money. She wants to grow, Michael.
Yeah.
Do I sit there and go, hey, Jane, for marketing purposes, hey, Jane, I really don't like how you're positioning the people you refer me. And what I really like is that you get this guy in front of me 90 days ago so I can really add value. She's a closer, Michael.
Yeah,
she is a wolf. She is a wolf. He surfaced and said, I want to buy investment property. She circled the wagons and said, let's go buy down in this condo and let's write an offer. And he did.
Yep.
So then she said, hey, call Brendan or email him. And then there's an in-house lender in the same building. He's already talked to that guy. I know that through her. So she doesn't, like, I don't sit there and go, hey, I would really appreciate it if you could get people into my Smart Start cauldron.
Sure.
She's just not that person anymore when she was 4 or 5 years ago.
I get it.
So that's
we all have those realtors. I get it. I was just curious for context.
No. That's a great question, because the reality is when we sit here and study our accounts pyramid and look at our relationships, relationships change over time. Yeah, folks, your best realtor today could not trust you tomorrow. And when you are, wait a minute, it doesn't happen to me. I'm Michael Anthony. I'm John Hool. I'm Logan Goldberg. I'm amazing. I'm in Florida. These people love me. Bullshit, Logan. When you screw something up, your favorite realtor doesn't. It's a boop, boop, boop. The number you've reached, like, they're on to the guaranteed rate lady who is taking them out to dinner and feeding them the guaranteed rate 100% doctor program that you don't have. You know, the best part about having this call is that I still produce.
Yep.
So everything that I talk about is the real shit. And none of you, like every coach right now out there, really doesn't produce. Most of them don't. Now, all my buddies in the core who are not like stage coaches, but they're actual real coaches, and half of them have quit recently, you know, they know the drill. And so anything that Michael and I talk to you about, like, we're not bullshitting. This is all real stuff. And Michael, you like stop me, slap me, put a cork in my mouth when I say something that isn't real, because I'm giving you guys, like, in the end, it goes back to this: decide to be a consultant or decide to be a marketing guru. We had there's a marketing guru that all my guys and all the Atlanta people know on the call. He's not with us anymore, but he's a marketing guru. You want to know what it's like working for a marketing guru on the back office on the loans? Hold on. Let me get Mike Engel, my ops manager, on the call. He has a pistol with that guy's name on it and a rifle scope ready to take him out if I said, oh, guess what? We're hiring that guy back.
Yeah.
So know this: if you want to control long-term a business and be a consultant, let's go back to those questions and let's talk about them. And I want to go around the horn and stop the lecture format at 15 minutes and go into interactive format. And I want you guys to talk. And Michael, can you pull up those 3 questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want I want you guys to take as many notes and hear from other people on the call about answering those 3 questions as you can. And then we'll finish at 9:15.
Yep. Yeah. So the first question: what's the easiest way to build trust?
April?
I think the easiest way is to be a person of your word, showing integrity. If you say you're going to call somebody back with an update, do that, whether it's the customer or your referral partner.
Okay. Now that's during the relationship. I'm talking about in the beginning.
Now, and Brendan, you're talking about a client referral, like a customer.
I'm talking about the nuts and bolts of us generating referrals.
Yeah.
Or leads coming into us.
Mm-hmm.
So April, how would you answer it from that vantage point?
Yeah. So brand new client calls you. Hey, April, I was referred by Sally. I need to get pre-approved.
Okay. All right. So in that aspect, I'd say that'd be, well, okay, if we're role playing, I'm say, great, thanks. I've known Jane for a long time. We've done a number of handled a number of loans together. So now, and then I just go into how
so
did
April,
you meet them? Yes.
April, so hold on. So you're getting into the specifics. So in general, how would you build trust with a brand new lead? Just I want 10,000.
I would ask them. Okay, so what I do is I ask them what are their real estate goals, and I just kind of reiterate. This young lady, Rita, in the office, she'll put a little note, hey, they're first-time home buyer. So then I would just go into what are their real estate goals as a first-time home buyer. And then if
so your general thing when I hear that is you want to hear their story.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your way of building trust is tell me your story.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. That's a good nugget to know. Who else? What other ways to build trust in the beginning?
Parker has his hand raised.
I think for me, the steps to sell, however you want to say, is after the introduction is just to build rapport and make them your friend, right? Conversational selling will get you further than trying to be a salesperson.
Okay, so your build trust is make them your friend.
Well, yeah, just find common ground, get on their level. It's the 6 things, and I got them all written down, but it's, the first one is, agree with them, right? And then the second one is, figure out what it really is that they're doing and validate it, right? And then isolate it, and then tie down questions. I mean, all these things that you can do, but I think the big thing is just getting common rapport with your client. And before anything else, just becoming friends and getting to know each other. You know, just more information about them than you always works, I think.
Okay. I disagree with about 97% of what you just said, but write it down. So here's a
Everybody
point,
does stuff different, I guess.
Parker. We started with how do you build trust? And I'm in a zone right now, and this is where the paths diverge. This is where the problem starts, is the definition of trust. So I'm glad you lobbed that out. By the way, I'm not mad at you. I'm glad you told me how you think trust is built. There's a book called The Challenger Sale that statistically goes through selling and refutes with geographical data 90% of what you just said about building trust.
Okay.
Just in case you're wondering why my tone has changed. You are 90% wrong in everything you just said statistically in how to sell.
Okay. Well, my whole life, I've been taught the second step to a sale is to learning your customer and becoming friends. And
Okay.
building common rapport.
I'm just telling you that's wrong, and I'm glad you revealed that.
Okay.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm not mad at you either.
Good. Who else wants to talk about how to build trust?
David has his hand up.
Go.
I think, using Brendan's scenario of this hairy deal that you're going to have a pain in the ass borrower and a pain in the ass loan, the biggest way to gain trust, especially with a referral partner, is to know when to walk away and to say,
huge.
hey, up front, this is a really difficult deal. We probably can get it done. We're going to have to do this, this, and this. You're may have to do this type of program. You're not going to get a 6% rate, all of these things. And if that's not going to work, then, I may not be the right fit for this particular deal. And I think a good agent, now, not all of them, some of them are going to say, well, this guy sucks. He can't close his loan. But a good agent is going to realize that and say, yeah, that's a guy I can trust because he's not going to let me down and blow up the deal the day before closing. Oh, sorry, your loan can't close. And, that's been my experience. I think that was a perfect experience, Brendan.
Right. No, and here's the thing, David, you're a seasoned veteran, and you realize now that telling the truth and being very honest with someone gets you further than being likable or trying to sell the deal.
Right.
So,
For sure.
So building trust for you, if I could boil it down, tell them the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very upfront and direct with my clients. I don't, if I can do it, great. Here's the rate. If you don't like it, then, move on.
Nice. Who else has a definition of building trust for them? Which, by the way, I want to know what it is, not what you think I want to hear. This is really just an exercise in you revealing how you're building trust with your clients.
I saw Gloricel with her hand up first.
Oh, I was just gonna say I build on the trust that they already have with their realtor. Now, obviously, if they come from Zillow or they don't have a realtor, then it's different. But most people come from a realtor, and so if you start off that conversation with, "How do you know, Nick, your realtor?" They typically lead with, our kids play soccer together. He sold my mom her house and our neighbors their house. Like they're not shopping realtors because they trust their realtor. And so I kind of lead into the same way you trust your realtor to get you the right house. Your realtor trusts me to get you to the finish line.
So your building trust would be like essentially an Eastern philosophy, which would be like, since you trust that person that gave you my number, like they gave you my number for a reason.
Right. Just sort of building on the trust that they have. You trust them in the same way that you trust them, they trust me, and kind of building on the trust that they already have with their agent. That it's very helpful.
So intrinsically, that's kind of like when in the Bible, when it says love your neighbor as you would your family, or somewhere in the Bible it says that. Maybe I just made it up. Or maybe somewhere in some spiritual book it says, hey, love your neighbors, right? Because they're the people that can protect you in some time of need.
Right.
You're going to the, hey, this is an intrinsic, I'm building trust because I'm making you talk about the relationship you have with the person that gave you my number.
Right.
That's pretty deep. Good. Who else? Andy, anybody in my office, how do you build trust? What is your definition of it?
Yeah, Brendan, this is Andy. I was going to say similar to what Gloricel said about just triangle for trust and building on whoever the referral source is. But then twofold, I really just focus on telling the client how I work and how I help people.
Okay.
And sometimes when it doesn't go perfectly how I'd like it, you know, the kind of your situation, I'm just upfront and I just say, hey, this is not how I normally work. You know, the reason why I tried to, you know, set a meeting face to face is because now you're overwhelmed and all this stuff's happening. So I just want to let you know, this is not how I work. However, you know, and just be as honest as I can about that. But I just feel like up front, if the lead comes in, you know, with good, you know, timelines and everything, just being super clear and telling how you help people and just showing how that's different, because I'm 99% sure that every other lender, if they talk to other lenders, is not going to do it how I do.
Right. Nice. So your way of building trust is, what I heard is, hey, I have a system that is how I help people, and that it, like, you say it with conviction. So when someone hears that, if they're panicked, if they're like, whatever, wherever they are, once you say that, your goal is, hey, if you let me do it the way I've done it in the past, this will work for you.
Yeah. Does that sound beneficial for you? And then nine times out of 10, it's yes. Let's set up a meeting.
Yeah. Nice. All right. One more volunteer. Rob, how do you build trust? Anybody in my office or anybody who's got their hand raised?
McCain's got his hand raised.
Okay.
Hey, Brennan, I mean, the only way I know how to do it is just because I've been with you for a year and a half. So I've heard you talk about it as the triangle of trust, you know, and Gloricel kind of hit on that. It's how do you know me, or how do you know the realtor? This is how I know the realtor or the person referring me. You know, that starts it off. And after that, I mean, I kind of like what I know what Parker said is the friend part, but you know, I do like to find common ground with them if there is something that, you know, we both went to the same school or went to the, you know the same people. I like to find a little bit of that and just hit on a little bit before I dive into what I do and how I can help them. And then at that point, it's just like, you got to be as honest as you can and tell them that mortgages today are very hard to do. And the reason that your realtor referred you to me is because they know that I can get the job done and I can do it quickly.
So you kind of like to mix both.
Right.
And I think before you came on our team, you were in a sales call center dealing with just leads over the phone and deals, right?
Right. There was no referral or anything to
build. And so
trust.
Your success rate then was your natural to build trust was to try to be friendly and likable and have some common thing on the phone.
Right.
Which, but just in case you and Parker are wondering, when I started my career, that was my natural instinct as well too. Like, I haven't always been this person. My natural instinct was to be like, oh my God, Michael Anthony, like Ohio State, dude, I love the Buckeyes. You know,
you just hardened over time.
No. What it is I learned that a consultant is the style that if in the end I'm going to hire somebody in anything, I'm going to gravitate towards someone who treats their profession as a consultant. And the salespeople that I've dealt with in my life make me nervous. Salespeople make me nervous. I don't need another friend. And when I read the book, The Challenger Sale, it all made sense. When a group spent millions and millions of dollars researching human behavior and salespeople and styles of selling, the trust factor was not built through trying to be a friend. The trust factor is really built through a different series of perks. That's how trust is built. And techniques and whatever technique you might be using to build trust could work again. It doesn't mean that the relationship seller, McCain and Parker, doesn't get the sale sometimes. Does that make sense? There are plenty of people that do relationship selling and they're successful. The question is could you have been more successful if your definition of building trust is a little more malleable and you're aware that like the way you instinctually think you're building trust might actually not be working. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Brendan, could you give like a 1-sentence summary of the Challenger Sale?
I mean, it really just says there's 5 types of salespeople, and the relationship builder, which is their instinct is to be liked and like their prospect, performs at the lowest level versus the hard worker, the problem solver, the lone wolf salesperson, or the challenger salesperson. So those are the 5 types of salespeople, and they broke it down across 2 industries of complex, and then they categorized the 3 major bullet points of each type of salesperson. And McCain and Parker, you're just revealing that you naturally lean towards being a relationship builder salesperson, which, by the way, isn't a bad thing. The question is can you adapt what trust means, and can you learn a new style that will help increase your selling numbers? That's all. Yeah. The book basically says a challenger who statistically performs at the highest level is actually something that can be fabricated and manufactured. Mm-hmm. The good news is this: Smart Start, what we teach, what Michael and I work on all the time, is just a part of it. It's just the prop to bring people in, to open them up, and to have a more in-depth interview with a client so that you can say, hey, dipshit doctor with no money, no financial planner, no budget, no nothing, all this stuff, and got 30% to put down. Do you like ever sit down with someone and talk about your money? No, man. Well, would you want somebody to try to help you? It seems like you're 50 years old, and I know you just came in to get a mortgage from me, and we've kind of discovered a couple things, but man, I'm scratching my head. I feel like I could help you after this mortgage with a bunch of other people that might be able to help you. Would you be against that? No, Andy, like, I'm so glad you slowed me down and brought me in. Like, by the way, then the sale is something different. The mortgage is just a means to an end to get this person who's opened up to you because you've used a Smart Start to then go, hey, I've got about 5 people that I could connect you to because you're kind of a mess. And that's a challenger who basically, instead of being the relationship builder on the phone with the doctor that never got the appointment and never got the loan, the person that finally got the doctor to come in realized that he's a dumbass, and then like, hey, now you've got a 10-year relationship with a client because up front you challenged them, Parker. Like, you didn't agree with them. McCain, you didn't want to be their friend. You just wanted to create a consulting type environment where you could let them reveal to you how much they don't know. And oh, by the way, poking holes in that isn't a problem if you do it the right way. Now, here's the deal. Mortgages, in a lot of what we're talking about, and I want to go to the next question, mortgages can be as simple as, hey, I got your name and phone number. I need a loan. What do I do next? We all know that client is a layup client, right? Mm-hmm. We all know that client if it's happening so fast, like, is there some need to be a consultant? Maybe there's not. I'm talking about what seems to be all my clients that come referred by financial planners, realtors, past clients that refer me their friends. It seems like 80% of those clients, or even 90%, are not what I just mentioned, which is, hey, hurry up, tell me how to get a loan. Most of my clients seem to be clients that actually need some type of explanation of the process. They need some advice. And then can I really do what I do well? What was question number 2?
Yeah, so just one statement real quick. Read the Challenger sale, because I think I am more like Parker, and I always try to be friends with people. But after reading that book, I'm still friendly. People still like me. But there's a way to challenge and make yourself unique in a commoditized business. And I think that's where it is important. And because if somebody's viewing it as a commodity, and you can show somebody that, hey, wait a minute, you're not looking at it, the right way. Let me show you this way. So I would say read the book and then implement it. And I think it'll make a lot of sense.
Well, and remember this, Michael, we're all actors.
Yeah.
Like, when I hang up and call this guy Gabe, hey, Gabe, Brendan, how are you? Oh my God, what did we speak 3 years ago? Oh my God, that's great. You're like, I got to put it on.
Yeah.
Hey, smiley person. And Michael, when I hear you sell, your octave goes up. You become you're Michael Anthony, the salesperson, right? We all gravitate to a natural selling pitch that is a higher octave than our current voice. For the ladies on the call, it might be like, Gloricel, if we heard your sales voice, it's a little different than your voice right now. You and April. Gloricel might be like, hey, this is Gloricel. April's laughing. But the funny thing is when you hear your friend go into sales mode, the pitch changes a little.
Yep.
The key is this. Ultimately, human nature takes back over, Michael, when we now realize we're in the midst of a sale, we settle back in, our tone changes, and then we either, start to go into problem solving mode, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's, hey, let's get into the nitty gritty. So Michael, yeah, I think that's a great recommendation. If you can read the book and get through it and skim when you get bored, I mean, ultimately you're going to see some of these things that are going to make your head scratch and go. And when I read it in 2009 or 8, that's when, like, trust me, Smart Start and my ability then versus now has changed, because that book taught me things, 15 years ago when it came out, that it takes a while to absorb some of the content. Think of it like a golf swing. Like, as soon as a really good person says, hey, you're not getting your club in the right position, and then you do, it feels uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh my God, that feels good. Feels weird.
Yeah.
What was the second question, Michael?
If you're building a referral-based business, what does that really mean?
Anybody want to try to answer? No wrong answers. Ones I might disagree with, but
I'll go. Nobody's
go.
Nobody's got the hand up. So I think for me, when I think about this, like, I think that for me, for my business, a referral-based business is a living, breathing, dynamic force that brings me referrals. I mean, that's sort of the way I look at it, versus a consumer direct or different channel, where as soon as those marketing dollars stop, your lead funnel stops. So for me, it's this living, breathing force that brings me in quality referrals. That's sort of the way I look at my business. And I know that if I wake up today, my God, that referral, that force, I'm going to get referrals today without spending money. That's sort of how I look at it.
Nice. I like that.
Gloricel.
And this is work in progress for me, so I'm sort of more of New Year's resolution than something that I'm already doing, but it's constantly asking, who do you know who? We forget to ask, are you asking, every client that you close at closing,
Yeah.
who do you know who else is looking for, to purchase a refi, close clients, past clients, every realtor, like, are you asking that question every time? I'm not consistent with it. I guarantee that if I was, and if I asked that at every single closing with every single realtor and with every single, client, my database would probably be double what it is now. So that's one of the things that I'm going to focus on going forward is I just forget to ask, who do you know who's looking to purchase or, refi?
And like, I know some people, and I've even, like, I don't want to feel too salesy and ask them, but at the end of the day, people know our business is based on referrals, or
Right.
do they? Maybe they don't. They should know it, right? So I think we have to get that cheese fear factor out of our head, because it's just letting them know how we generate our business.
Well, and these are great things. This is great theory. Does a doctor who takes your tooth out because it hurts rely on your referrals?
Probably not.
Do they?
No.
Does a boutique doctor rely on your referrals?
Probably not.
Okay. Does someone who does Botox in your forehead, Michael, rely on your referrals?
Yes.
Maybe on your business. Yeah.
Okay. So the simple answer is you defined it based on your experience. The guy that takes out teeth, or the lady that takes out teeth, absolutely. They want you to go, oh my God, my tooth just got taken out by Dr. Anthony. He's great. You should call him. Right?
Right.
That's the truth. Everybody has a referral business. So the question is how do you get the referrals? And Gloracell, you are right, excuse me. This is post-surgery morning stuff. You basically should ask. We should ask. Our problem is the consistency of asking just comes at different times. And then it's like, oh, they closed 60 days ago. I kind of forgot to ask. And now it would be weird if I did. Right. And so you put it as a New Year's resolution. Am I wrong or fishing? Does this sound accurate?
No, yeah, exactly. I just forget to ask,
Yeah. So I think the struggle is in if we can consistently remember to ask, we would probably get more business. Or if we're really thinking about a referral-based business, do we have like systems set up to help us remind them that is important? So good. Anybody else want to volunteer their answer to that question? What does it mean to have a referral-based business?
Yeah, I had my hand up.
Sure.
I just think about referral-based business on relational equity that you have with people. So just like any type of equity, like it's slow to build up, but once it's there, it's like wealth. It's like gold. So I just think about that with all the relationships. Not as much, client wise, it's if you can just do a really good job and ask the question like Gloracell said, you can build that pretty systematically. It's with the realtors, the financial planners, other business people where you really have to chip away. Sometimes it happens quicker than others, but it's like, what are you doing to build that equity up in your relationships?
Yeah, and I think that is huge. Relational equity. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean? Because Gloracell, sometimes, contrary to what you just said, people don't need to be reminded. They just know that you're the person. And when there's someone, they'll say, hey, call Gloracell. You did such a good job. They'll find you. Make sense?
Yep.
And that relational equity flies in the face of, hey, thank you for working with me. I just wanted to know, Gloracell, if who do you know who versus, hey, Gloracell, enjoy your home. Call me when you need me. You were a great client to work with. I got to get back to my office. I've got some meetings. See you later. Oh,
When
do you have any business cards? No, I don't, Gloracell. Find me in the yellow pages. I love you. Goodbye. Relational equity in the performance of what you did, right? Andy, you're basically arguing that, like, if you do a really good job, the people that actually found you know that. Is that the argument in building a referral-based business? And then, Gloracell, what's your question?
No, that
April.
yeah, that was me. I was asking, when, based off of Gloracell's scenario, when do you all believe is the most opportune time to say, who do you know?
Well, Joe
that could use
Stump,
that service?
who invented by referral only, who is someone that I always go back to his core beliefs,
Mhm.
would say that it's whenever you did anything that was of value to them.
Okay.
When
Hey,
they give you a compliment.
Gloracell, was this Smart Start meeting? I know you were referred by Katie, and we just spent 45 minutes going through your whole situation. You filled out the All About You form. I really appreciate it. Hey, was this meeting helpful for you?
I like that.
No, ready? Just role play. Was the meeting helpful for you?
Yes, it was very helpful.
How so? Just so I know specifically, what was the most helpful thing?
I really like that rent versus own analysis. I didn't realize how much I would spend on rent over the next 5 years.
Awesome. Hey, would it be too much for me to ask a favor of you?
No.
Here's my ask. How many friends of yours that rent right now do you think would benefit from seeing this form?
I've got a couple friends that are renting right now. that
Would
could
you
benefit
mind
from it.
texting them and me when you leave as my ask, and just saying, hey, I left Brendan's office. I did a rent versus own form, and I really think you would benefit from seeing this. Would you be able to do that?
Sure. Sure.
Great. I would really appreciate it. I think the biggest reason I ask Gloracell or April or whoever is that I don't like trying to go out and hunt for clients. I'd rather just rely on my clients that work with me, that value what I do. And you just went through this and you experienced it and you said, hey, this was helpful. So if you would do that, that would mean a ton to me.
Okay.
Great. By the way, did that sound salesy?
No.
No, it sounded great. Smooth.
Did Gloracell need to be my friend?
No.
Did I just say to her, what did you like about what we just did? She was like, hey, I didn't know anything about this rent versus own thing. Cool. Well, I'm glad that impacted you. Would you mind if I asked you a favor?
Mhm.
Could I ask you a favor?
I
I
think-
paused. She said yes.
Mhm.
Then I'm open to Gloracell. Would you drive down to the 7-Eleven and get me a Coke Slurpee and bring it back? Sure, Brendan. Okay, great. Because I have an appointment and I don't have time. And yet, while you're at it, could you get me one of those 100 grand bars as well? By the way, Parker and McCain, my relationship builders, that's human nature. If you ask someone, hey, what did I just do that was helpful to you? And if they said, oh my God, you did this, 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 and this, you could just ready? Here's the simple answer to throw it all in the trash can. Hey, you're welcome, Gloracell. That's the shitty answer if we're trying to build a referral-based business. Hey, Gloracell, you're welcome for that rent versus own. See you soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
Parker had a question?
Sure.
No, this is great. I think we can all agree that you can ask for the referral once you've earned it.
Mhm.
And the question, and that's, you're 100% on, what did you do to earn it. And a lot of salespeople think the only way I can ask for a referral is when the deal closes. And guess what? Along that bloody 90-day path of meeting the client, pre-qualing them, then getting them pre-approved, losing out on 2 offers, finding one, getting the deal closed, somewhere in there, something went wrong. Then the consultant, us on the call, go, well, how do I ask for a referral at the end when it was a little bit bumpy? And the answer is, which file isn't bumpy?
Plant the seed. Yeah, plant the seed up front.
So I think building a referral-based business can happen from the minute you meet the client. You don't actually have to close them. What was the last question? Let's squeeze it in.
Last question. Where is it? The last question is, when your name appears to be the person to get, quote, the call or to get a mortgage from, what do you want the person to know within the first 5-10 minutes of interacting with them? Similar to the first question, but it's a little different.
Yeah. So I think this, if you want them to know how to get a mortgage, like the procedural part, like click on the link, fill out the form, we'll soft pull your credit, and we're going to look at these things. I think if you're leaning in that way in the first 5 to 10 minutes, obviously we have to do that. But the question really is that what you want them to know about you? Or is it kind of a different thing? Like Andy said, hey, here's how I work. I have a different way of working. Is it, hey, I grew up in this town, you grew up in this town, and it seems like we should have crossed paths sooner. So I think the big question really is like, in your own style, you're going to gravitate towards something. Your answer is, write out your answer. I would say, know that there's always a way to adapt your style. And ultimately, that first 5 to 10 minutes dictates a lot of the relationship. Michael, would you agree or disagree with that statement?
No, I'd agree.
How so?
Because it depends on, how are you framing your value and what you're going to do, right? If your first 5 or 10 minutes is simply procedural, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to do this. I'm going to send you this, and then I'll take a look at it. I'll call you back, review credit. Then I think you're just, like any other loan officer, but you happen to answer the phone, which is good. Now, right. Yeah.
You said, hey, Michael, you said the F word. What was that F word you just said?
Did I?
Yeah. You used the F word. You said how you
frame.
Yes. Tell me about that word.
So we have the unique opportunity when somebody's calling us we can frame ourselves, we can frame our value how we choose to. So that's why I think it's really important that when you take a phone call, it's not like you can't just get lazy on it. You have to I think it's really important to frame yourself as the professional and the consultant that sets up the meeting. And when they come in and they meet with you, they're going to walk away feeling just so relieved, excited. And most people are just ready to roll and ready to start looking for homes.
And Michael, you could do a virtual setup meeting or a physical, correct? It doesn't have to be, because a lot of people object to this. How do I meet with people if I'm remote?
Well, yeah, but if you have the ability to do that, I had a conversation yesterday. I said, listen, you're only 35 minutes away. I think it's more impactful if you're here in my office. I think you'll just get a little bit more out of it. More questions, more answers. Pretty cool stuff to show you here. But yeah, we could do Zoom. But I think, again, it's your first home. You're spending $800,000. Let's, an hour driving, an hour here. It's 2 hours of your life. Is it worth it when you're spending $800,000? Yeah, it is.
And Michael, do you feel that because we are in a complex sale, that framing framing that could be one of the most important things in the first 5-10 minutes for you to like establish your footing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think today's call was about basics, and those 3 questions never go away. The more you set up what works best for you, knowing that ultimately, Michael just said it, people are making the biggest decision of their life that year. And if you want to validate a phone sale and everything over the phone, you're certainly welcome to do that. But I would argue that your results are going to be diminished the more you leave it up to a phone sale and a process over the phone.
Yeah. People will spend an hour and a half at Apple to get a new phone. I mean, think about it. It's an $800 phone that they're paying nothing for because they have a contract. They're getting a free phone, and they're going to spend 2 hours, an hour and a half waiting in line at Apple. They shouldn't come to your office when they're buying an $800,000 home. I mean, just think about that.
Yeah, and I think that if any of you like to stay out of your home office, you can always set up a virtual meeting later that day if you're, if a deal is kind of happening quickly.
Sure.
Like the framing can be, hey, I'm so glad I got you now. I'm available at 1 for an in-depth meeting. Can I send you materials so that you can be prepared for my meeting and we can meet for 45 minutes and go through all your stuff.
Yeah.
Versus diving in on the phone right there. So Michael and I spent a big chunk of change to sit with a psychologist for 2.5 days to go through a whole seminar on how to frame yourself and what he called claim the frame. Because he said this, your referral that gets your name already has a preconceived notion of what you do. If they've ever gotten a loan before, you're that person in their frame. So they frame you until you claim the frame and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not sure you know how I work, or I'm not sure you're aware of what I do. And the moment that happens, the pattern interrupt for the buyer occurs. So think about it this way. If we've been to a McDonald's, which all of us have, every one of us could recount what we think a McDonald's is. Right? Just use McDonald's as an example. So my version is it's a drive-through. But let's say a McDonald's owner said, screw that, I'm going to change the whole context of McDonald's. And all of a sudden I drive up to their McDonald's and there's a dude on a headset with a stop sign, and he stops me and he says, and he motions and says, roll down the window. And I go, hey, and he goes, hey, I want you to park here and come into my McDonald's. We're going to blow your mind. I'm going to get you whatever it is you wanted. And because our drive-through's busted today, but I want to get you your food ASAP. I'd be like, okay, this is different. And then for whatever reason, the inside of the McDonald's, he's got Disneyland going on and I have a totally different experience. My point is this: you can claim your frame and frame whatever it is you want to do, but you have to. Otherwise, they frame you. Otherwise, they say, hey, McCain, I can't meet with you during regular hours. Can you meet me Saturday at like 8 a.m.? And I'm going to bring my kids to the meeting. That's not how I do it, McCain. You're just a loan officer. I'm framing you. This is you're a tool in my shed that I need to use, not the other way around. So Dino, who's been silent on this call, always talks about, are you the prisoner or are you the prize? And when you claim your frame and you frame how you want to work and how you can benefit them and how best they could perceive you, then you're controlling the flow of the information. And so, Michael, one of the things that we learned, and we'll have to hang up, but one of the ways Renee teaches how to frame is tell stories. Now, telling a story could be tough for some of you guys, especially in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Like, oh my God.
That could be a good call next week. Is just the whole, the
Well,
framing.
by the way, I don't know if
Opportunity.
Michael, I don't know if I tell stories or if you do in the first 5 to 10 minutes. But if we were in a seminar with Renee and he was filming our first 5 to 10 minutes of all of our calls, he may pattern interrupt us and say, hey guys, you're missing a huge opportunity at minute number 6 to stop the client and say, oh my God, you remind me of my cousin. And when we helped them 3 years ago, it was so weird. They were self-employed just like you. They had just started their business. You know what I mean, Michael, you get what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
He would probably go, oh my God, you guys suck so bad. And then Michael and I in his $5,000 3-day seminar would go, holy shit, this guy's dogging us out because we don't tell stories enough.
Yep.
At every level, we can learn something more. So those 3 questions are very valuable. Hopefully today's call wasn't too rude. Parker, my 4-minute headlock on you. Sorry, I had to just squeeze a little. Everybody read that book.
The book's good. Yeah, check it out.
And here's the journey. We're all just trying to get better at selling what we sell. And when we go into a place where we know we lack, then answers will come. And trust me, I'm on the journey too with Michael. It's not perfect.
Oh no, you got to keep sharpening. So good call, everybody.
All right, thanks guys. Bye.
Adios. Have a good week.
Thank you.